we we've been doing this series on basically franchises and kind of the business journey of specific franchises. And I thought it's been really fun to explore different aspects of that journey and different perspectives. So, not just necessarily talking about a specific business or a vertical, but really exploring, how businesses reach the decision to franchise. Once they did, maybe some challenges, some things to overcome, to really understand how they went from, a successful sole proprietorship, a business that they started, maybe just them and a van, and getting to, these real success stories for proven business models. So would like for everyone to join myself. So I am Ben Fish with Workies, and I am thankful to be in a great partnership with Mr. Daniel Johnson, who is the CEO and founder of Einstein Pros. So introduce yourself a little bit, Dan.
Sure. Yeah. So Dan Johnson, I've been a plumber in the trades for over 30 years, well, about 30 years now. And I just absolutely love the trades. I think it's the most awesome thing that you could do in life is taking care of people and being a service professional. I've had quite a large business, over 50 employees. I was in 4 states before I franchised, and we'll learn a little bit more about my company and what I do and so forth. But I'm grateful to be here today and to join with you, Ben, and join with the Workies today on the webinar. So I'd like to kind of just tell my story, and you guys can take whatever information that I share today and apply it to your business if it's helpful, and maybe learn a little bit about what we do and why we do the things that we do. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's exciting. So
fantastic. And everyone out there, please don't be shy. As we're going through, and we'll bring up the agenda here in a second, you'll kind of see, exactly what we're going to drill down into. But please, guys, join us. If you have a question, throw it in the chat. If you hear something that you think is really great, or, maybe even something that you did similar, throw it in the chat. We love these to be as engaging as possible. They're always a really good time. So as far as the agenda today, we will be covering a multitude of topics, and it's all basically going to be overall talking about branding. We want to talk about, kind of branding, especially a multi-franchise group. So we're going to start out real quick, really just kind of talking about understanding the franchise model, because that's something we always talk about on these webinars. For someone that's thinking about franchising or just really starting that process, want you to understand exactly what that's all about. Then we're really going to get into kind of some meat and potatoes about branding. So we're going to talk about brand identity and kind of how Dan was able to establish that brand identity. Then kind of structuring guidelines about, what that brand was going to be and how to create it. We're going to talk about how we then conveyed that message, marketing, online presence, and then also stay tuned, because we're going to get into day-to-day stuff. If you're in that phase where, you're starting and you haven't found a franchisee yet, or maybe you found your first one and you haven't figured out how to train them, how to support them, how to find those right franchisees, we're going to get into all that stuff. And then, of course, things like customer experience and loyalty, getting them to understand your brand. Those are things we want to explore, which will, of course, apply to any business owner out there. So we have a lot of topics that, whether you're in franchise right now, you want to franchise your business, maybe you're just starting a business, there'll be a lot of stuff that'll apply today. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit about how all that worked together with Workies. We'll tell you a little bit about us. We'll have some questions and answers then at the end as well. So to begin, I am going to add a poll here. So while we talk about understanding the franchise model, I just drafted a poll. You guys, go ahead, give me an answer there, so we understand kind of where everybody's coming in at. But yeah, let's begin by kind of providing an overview of that franchise model, kind of how it differs from other models, and kind of the advantages, both the franchisors and franchisees. So Dan, hit us with some wisdom, hit us with some knowledge.
All right. So first of all, I think everybody's familiar with Albert Einstein. If you don't, great guy, right? And so he's our mascot. It took me years to secure the brand Albert Einstein. So he's our franchise mascot. And I absolutely love Albert Einstein. He's the most charismatic and personable person that I think that is the most iconic person that I've seen throughout history. So I really wanted to brand my company because of Albert Einstein, and I wanted to put that essence of who he really was basically as the forefront of what my model of a business would be like. And so I've been in business over 25 years. So we have a proven success model that we've done. With the franchise model, we try to make it as easy to run and manage. We do that through innovation, so technology. As you know, we're being interviewed by Workies here, so we use the Workies platform. But we also have other platforms that we use, specialty programs and things that really help the franchisees, help the technicians on the day-to-day so that they can run their business and try to make it as easy as possible, right? And then as a franchisee, as you come into our company and our team, we have constant training and support. So we're always trying to mentor the franchisees. We're trying to coach with them and show them the things to do to be more successful, to get more clients, and to really kind of, as I like to say, own the home, right? When you go and you talk to customers, it's so important to really show that concern and care so that they want to call us back because we did such a good job. So all of those things kind of fit into what we do. But let's talk about maybe why we do the things. And so go ahead, Ben. You might have some more questions.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was a great explanation, and for anyone thinking about franchising, obviously, there's an inherent risk in starting any business, and I think the beauty of franchising and why it's really exploded is the fact that you kind of alleviate a lot of that risk. And I really I was really excited about the prospect of talking with you today, Dan, because I think you guys do an exceptional job of that. When you talk about handing someone kind of a proven business model, maybe some advanced resources, things like that, some better direction, any franchise, is going to have a benefit there. You guys really do a phenomenal job in developing these systems and how to start a franchise with you guys. And I know you've termed it like getting a business in a box. So I was going to ask you, could you elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, so what we've tried to do is we try to simplify everything so it really is a business in a box. And how I came up with this concept, it started years ago in my apprenticeship, and then I went through my apprenticeship. I got my business license. I was so excited. I remember all my friends and family, I told them I was starting my own company. And then it was like that first day I got in my truck and started it up. And I was like, okay, now what do I do? What do I say? How do I get a customer? If I got a customer, what would I say to the customer? What would I give for a price? What do I put in my truck? How do I figure out all of these things? So on my franchise model, when you sign up with us, within 3 months, you're doing what took me decades to perfect and get right. And that's why the franchise model is such a beautiful thing, because we've done all the hard work, right? So we figured out all of the pricing, the flat rate book, the materials that you put in your truck, how to organize your truck, what to say to a customer, how to answer the phone, how to take care of the customer. All of these things are laid out really easy for you so that you can just start right away. And it really allows you to focus on what is the most important, right? It's not so much about doing the job, but it's about taking care of the customer in the end of what you're doing. Because if you don't take care of the customer, then you're not going to get referrals. People are not going to want to use your services. So the franchise model simplifies all of the things that you need to do and allows you to really focus on the most important thing, like we talked about, that's taking care of the customer.
Yeah, and I think that's great insight. You know, you really having that knowledge as a franchisee to know that kind of decades of, you know, maybe trial and error, or you know, some hard work and figuring out processes, even just something as simple as a message, you know, as an identity, you're given that. You know, that's such a better way to start than sitting in your truck and not really really sure what to do. So you know, that's awesome, and I think someone can understand why that's so beneficial on day one, you know, to receive that. And we've heard your day one. Take me even a little bit back. Like, how did all this start? How did you start Einstein Pros?
Yeah, so you know, when I first started, became a plumber, got into the trades uh, 30 30 plus years ago. Got into the apprenticeship program, started going to school. I went to night school. I think most people know that plumbers and electricians have to go to school for it. Um, Through my apprenticeship, I bounced around through like several companies. I think it was probably 6 companies. And a lot of the time, you know, it was kind of the same thing through each company. I would see the management or the owner of the business. He was always pulling his hair out. He wasn't sure, you know, what was going on. People were just kind of going everywhere. It was constant chaos. The treatment with the employees to the employer, everybody was scared to talk to the employer. There was just no communication. The culture was bad. It was a constant bad work environment. And it just wasn't one spot. It was all these different companies all had one theme together, and that nobody really cared about anybody. And so when I thought about starting a company, I thought to myself, if I'm going to start a company, what do I want that company to look like? What do I want it to feel like? And that was more of anything. I was sitting at the kitchen table and I was thinking about, you know, if I was going to start a company and I wanted it to feel a certain way, what would be my brand? What would it look like? What would it feel like? What was the message that I wanted to come out with? Right. And so I'd always loved that quote. Albert Einstein said that if he had to do it all over again, he would have been a plumber. And I remember there was a couple articles that talked about Albert Einstein. And so the Steam Fitters Union and a couple other IAPMO, I think it was, they reached out to Albert Einstein and they made him an official member. And I remember he wrote a couple plumbers back and forth at that time. And I was blown away reading those stories. And I thought, you know, he would make a perfect person to emulate, right? Because of his character, because he truly believed that plumbing was a noble profession. Because you really took care of people and you provided a service that was necessary. And I love the definition of Einstein. So Ein is one and Stein is stone. So one stone, right? And so like we had previous experience, I had previous experience with working for those other companies, you know, it was always like a struggle. Everybody was like a fist fight every day, going to work. Nobody liked it. And so I thought, you know, why can't business be more like a football team? Why can't we have a coach, a quarterback, and we got people that are specific to what they're good at, and we all work together as a team, right? And with that team model, we're all trying to get to the common goal, right? And that's taking care of people, and that's being taken care of from the beginning as well, so that we can all reach that same goal. So that's how I started with Einstein. I really loved the journey that I've been here, and I've created, like I said, we've created a lot of wonderful, beautiful things, systems and things like that. But the biggest thing that I focus on is all of the wonderful people that I've got a chance to work with and to be a part of my team. And I'm truly grateful and I appreciate that.
Sorry, I was on mute there for a second. The dreaded double mute. Uh, yeah, I like the idea of really, you know, you've obviously had this experience and learning what your industry and your profession was, and then just kind of the exposure to it, and you know, seeing how can you do it better, you know, and then tying in those elements that are with something like Einstein, that obviously is someone that everyone knows, whether it's, him as a genius, whether you know him as like a cultural icon. There's a lot of aspects to it. I think it was really cool approaching kind of these different things that you wanted to bring in, to kind of define that brand identity. So you kind of identified these things of who you guys want to be. How would you say you define, like, really definitively simple, your brand identity, your brand mission, your guys' values?
Yeah, it's a good question. So a while ago, I heard a TED talk. Simon Sinek, he gave a demonstration or a talk about what's your why, and he talked about all the different, like, really large companies, Apple, Microsoft. He even talked about the Wright brothers and different things that happened throughout history. And the biggest focus was on what makes people successful, right? And so a lot of people, what they do is they take I'm going to create a business, and I'm going to do plumbing, I'm going to do HVAC, I'm going to do electrical, and I'm going to offer these services, and we're going to make money. And I wanted to come at it from a different approach, and that was the why. So why Einstein? And so if you define the reason why you do things, then you get a different result. And let me explain. So my value system is based on 5 things, right? So in positive validation, gratitude, teamwork, happiness, being a happy culture, and taking care of people. And so with that, if you can do those things, if someone in your workspace, you can validate why they're there in the first place. Hey, it's good to see you. And you can show appreciation for the fellow person that you're working with. And everybody's a team. We're all trying to strive to do the same thing, right? And we're trying to get to the common goal. And so you create that happy culture, and the end result is taking care of people, right? And so I view this analogy kind of like an apple. And so an apple has generally like 5 seeds. And then around those seeds, we have the core of an apple, right? And then outside of that core, you have the meat. And so I liken that to a business. So we have 5 seeds, and that's our truth, right? That's the positive validation, the gratitude, the teamwork, and creating that happiness culture and caring for people, not just the people that we serve, but the people internally. And so that is the core of what makes a business successful. And then you build a team around it. And at the end, you get a product. And it's a beautiful apple, right? Instead of the other way, where you're focusing on what it looks like, and then you're trying to make money. It's just a different way of doing things. So, and the values push the mission. And the mission is, how do we take care of people? How do we do a good job? How do we get returned work? All of those things are so important in a business, right? But it starts with the why. It starts with, why are we doing the things that we do? We all know how to do the things. We all know how to go out there and replace toilets and water heaters, or replace furnaces and electrical panels. But why do we do the things that we do? Because people don't buy the things that we do. They buy the reason that we do them. And that's, I think, the biggest difference in business for being successful is why we do the things that we do drives our mission on how we take care of people.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. It kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you ever heard the story of, like, the guy that returned a tire to Nordstrom, and it just, Nordstrom is, like, notorious for being exceptional when it comes to just service and caring. And there's a lot of department stores that sell clothes and things of that nature. They don't sell tires, but rather than humiliate this guy, they just, oh, sure, absolutely, no problem, we'll take it back. And that's kind of just taking their core values and even relaying it to this absurd situation. But that's how you can have a store like that is considered a higher end, because the premium aspect is also their service and their people. So that brand that you've kind of, the apple that you have there, I think that's a beautiful way to describe what you guys are offering, how do you ensure that that brand is uniform? How do you ensure you have that consistency of displaying that beautiful product when you're spread out, all over the place in a franchise situation, maybe even different states?
Well, so I think the biggest thing is we look for franchisees that feel the same way. And so we want congruence, not just in the brand itself, meaning, we want people that feel and believe the same way that we do, that want those core values, that's their driving force, is who they are as a person instead of what they do as a person. I think that's the bigger difference. But as far as like the brand itself, we're really careful, since it is the Albert Einstein brand. We want everything to be perfect with it. We don't want it to get out there in the general public and then have weird things that people are doing with the brand or logo or anything like that. So we've created a brand guideline, and this is you can see it on the screen here, and I absolutely love it. I remember I was sitting with the designer as I came up with the concept, and we started drawing it up, and I was literally sitting right next to him. And so I got to put all the different pieces of the puzzle together. And so if you look closely, you can see Albert Einstein's nose. There's a water droplet. There's a couple other water droplets underneath his eye. There's one above his brow. If you look in his hair, he's got flames, and his mustache has a little electrical, lightning bolts and things like that. So I had a lot of fun designing the brand, but yet the concentric piece is when you look at Einstein and you look at his eyes, they're soft. He's looking at you, but he's not staring you down, right? He's saying, "Hey, we're gonna come. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna do a good job." And so I'm leading with the why in my brand, and I tried to visualize it to look that way, to feel that way, because that was the most important thing to me. We have our colors. The colors are red, white, and blue. So very American. We wanted people to feel comfortable with the colors. They're very soft. When we look at, kind of like the way that it's put on the truck, and I think we're going to get into that here in a second with the way that the truck works. But the biggest thing with the logo was really coming across with the essence of who Albert Einstein was. It's not just a picture, right? There's so many things that go into what a logo has to mean. And I really felt like we captured the essence of who Albert Einstein was. So
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I see what you mean about how it's warmer, it's inviting, and that's going to your guys' core. Like, how did you land on this? Like, I love the details within the logo. Is there a reason you didn't go with like the classic, like, tongue out, like the Einstein, picture, or like, yeah, yeah. What?
Who doesn't love that picture? I absolutely do. But we wanted people to take us serious too. And although that is hilarious, it's like that's one of the most iconic pictures of Albert Einstein. I think it really shows who he was as a person. In my opinion. I think about, like, that's why I wanted to brand it the way that I branded it, because I look at the person that he was. He was funny, he was personable, yet he was a genius. I mean, the guy was so intelligent, still one of the most intelligent people today, even as history goes on. So, and for him to say, if I could do it all over again, I would have been a plumber. It shows his softer side, or his meekness, his humbleness, that it wasn't all about him. It was about other people and so forth. I think, he's the best brand ambassador because he truly cared about people. There's a picture right here. Albert Einstein, that's his wife sitting next to him. That's in the Grand Canyon. And he's with 4 Hopi Indians. And they had given him that peace pipe. He's got a peace pipe in his hand, and he's holding the hand of a little girl. So when I look at that picture, you look at his face, he's smiling, he's happy. He was just a really awesome dude. So, it's like, how can I capture the essence of that person, put it into my business, put it into the practice of what we do every day? That's what excites me in business. It's not doing plumbing. It's not doing HVAC. It's not doing electrical. It's taking care of people. because that's what I feel the essence of what you should be doing in a service industry should be, taking care of people. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's from a branding perspective, I think that's so smart, because I think when you think of Einstein and those pictures, especially in today's day and age, like everything is, people find cause to be divisive about, puppies. It's just, there's so few things I feel like that are just universally, everyone's kind of on the same page of. And who doesn't like Einstein? Like, and I think for the reasons you laid out, yes, everyone knows he was a genius and he was brilliant and he'll always be remembered for that. But he was also goofy and fun. And, we all
yeah,
remember like that poster of him with his tongue out in like everyone's science class growing up, like there's
yeah.
just so much that's relatable. So I think from a branding standpoint, that was such a great move to incorporate that. I'm glad the picture of the truck is up here. I do really like your guys' truck. I think it's a great look. Could you like give us any insight onto anything specific about the trucks that kind of goes into the branding?
Yeah, when I designed the truck, I was sitting there with my graphics designer, and we had a picture of my truck, and he was like, okay, so he had the head, and he put it on, and he had it right next to Einstein Plumbing, and then I said, well, let's go a little bit bigger, and he's like, okay, and we went a little bit bigger, and I said, let's go a little bit bigger, and he's like, okay, and I said, let's go a little bit bigger, and he's like, oh, come on, partner. He's like, that's pretty big. And I was like, you know what? Let's just make it where it's spilling out over the sides of a truck. And he's like, oh, I've never seen that before. And I said, exactly. And I said, I want to see this truck a mile away. I want to see when I drive by, everybody takes a look at it. And I remember when I wrapped my first truck and I drove it around town for the first time. And it was probably the coolest thing. It was such a gratifying experience to see the recognition that I got. It was really, people were like, what was that? I went to the supply house and people were like, whoa, I love your truck. It's awesome, the graphics. But there's reasons why I did the things that I did. When you look at the head, the Albert Einstein head, you look at his eye, and it's looking right at the phone number. You see his intelligent rays coming off from his head. His head is tilted a little bit. And that's because I want it to be soft. I want it to be inviting. I don't want to be, he's just staring you down. There's so many people that call for services, right? So how are we presenting ourselves to customers so that it's inviting for customers? And that's what I really wanted in a truck. I wanted that brand to really like be pronounced where people see it, but yet still inviting, where people want to call us because they're not curious. They think, oh my gosh, this is a professional company. They're going to come take care of me. They're going to do a good job. And we have the most intelligent person ever on the side of the truck that truly cared about people. So you can't really go wrong with that. It turned out beautiful. I absolutely love my trucks.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, and I love the thought that was put into it. And especially too, you bring up a good point, in being inviting. And to me personally, anytime you bring someone into your home, it can be intimidating. We all work hard and your home is your castle. And when you have a leak or, your furnace isn't working or whatever it happens to be, it's uncomfortable. You have to rely on someone to come into your home and to get it working again. Otherwise it's going to be a big problem. And to have someone come in that isn't inviting and makes you uncomfortable, it makes that process so much worse. So I think from the start of that process, from the time someone sees your truck, to feel those emotions of comfort and to know, oh, I got the Einstein of plumbing is coming to fix it. That's what could be better, and I've seen your guys' ads and you play into that, which I think is great. Like I've noticed there's almost an educational aspect to your digital marketing, your videos, which I think is brilliant when Einstein is your namesake. Tell us a little bit about that, or if you have some of the videos, please show them
Yeah.
for no one that's
I
seen
think
them. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 videos. I created these videos. It took me a long time to come up with the concept because, I mean, it's a big concept to come up with. I mean, you've got Albert Einstein as your logo, as your brand mascot. So I was like, how am I going to display? How am I going to have Albert Einstein come into someone's house? What's he going to talk about? How's he going to fix things? And so I really put through the process of how I did the digital marketing, and let's watch it because I think it's really very clever. I love how it turned out. So I think we have 3 videos here that we're going to show. I don't think I hear any sound. Do you guys hear sound?
It's cold in here.
It's coming through now. Yeah, I can hear it now.
Uh-oh. This room is too hot. Hot, cold, enough is enough. Time to call Einstein Pros.
Here's the problem. Your current heating and cooling system with a single thermostat keeps all of the rooms in your house at the same temperature. You are unable to individually adjust the temperature of each room. What you need is a mini-split. A mini-split is a heater and air conditioner all in one. This is a wonderful alternative to replacing your entire system. This is a ductless, zoned mini-split where a central unit sits outside and serves 2 or more rooms. This allows each room to be individually controlled to the temperature setting you want. And both rooms have their own remote controller and their own temperature.
Ah, this is just right.
Einstein Pros is a smart choice for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs.
So that video, it took me a while to think of it. You know, I've always loved the 3 bears, and I thought that would be really fun to incorporate that in a ductless mini split commercial because it is like that, you know. And so in designing commercials, I really wanted to fit something that was going to really capture the audience and what is something that's actually real. Because it happens, right? You walk into one room, it's too cold. You walk into the next room, it's too hot. And you're like, that whole debate, like, what do? You turn up the thermostat and it's too hot in the other room. And now you got to turn it back down. So I wanted to play on the 3 bears because I thought it would be really fun. And I really like how it all turned out. I thought it was really great. The one thing that I have in the video, and you'll see it throughout all the videos, is that Albert Einstein always comes in as the expert, right? He always comes in. He has his board because he was a professor, and he's got his little pointer stick. And so he's a professor, and he's saying, "Hey, this is what's wrong. This is how what the issue is. But you know what? We can fix it. And this is how we fix it." And so throughout all of the videos and things like that, we're always trying to give educational pieces to educate customers, to help them make the smart choice. And that's really the tagline. You know, that's the point of everything that we do, is to help customers make that smart choice. So it leads into everything that we encompass as a business.
I love this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love the level of thought that that goes into every aspect of these things. It's great. But yeah, please continue. Let's see more.
All right.
So cold in here, the furnace isn't heating the house. Time to retire, old buddy. It's time to call Einstein Pros.
Here's your problem. Your furnace is old and isn't able to keep the house warm. At best, it's 80% efficient. That means you're losing 20 cents of every dollar spent on heat.
It's time for a replacement.
There, that's better. This new furnace is 98% efficient. It will heat your house quickly and efficiently. You can also add an air filtration system that will remove 99.9% of all smoke, pollen, viruses, and bacteria, keeping you safe and warm. So remember, always err on the side of efficiency. Einstein Pros is the smart choice for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs.
I love that commercial. It's so great, right? And you know what? The fun thing that I got to design on all of this is I was working with my graphics designer and the animator was, I mean, we get to use Albert Einstein, right? So how cool is that? But love Albert Einstein's big bushy mustache. And so to see his mustache go up and down and side to side throughout it just cracks me up every time. And I think it's really fun. And so I just was like, you know what, if I'm trying to emulate Einstein, I'm going to try to be funny. I'm going to try to add some level of like realness to it because he was a real person, the personable side of what really is the issue going on there. But saying, hey, we're the expert, we're going to take care of you, and this is how we do it, at the end result. So yeah, it's a really cool video. It turned out really well. So
yeah, the smart choice. I love it.
Yeah. I think we have one more. Or
We're out of hot water again. Time to call Einstein Pros. Here's your problem. Your current water heater heats water all day, wasting energy and costing money, yet still running out of hot water. A new tankless water heater never runs out of hot water. It heats as you go, saving you money. You're good to go. Not only are you saving the monies, you will never run out of hot waters again. It's the smart choice. Einstein Pros is the leading tankless water heater experts. Call Einstein Pros today for your free estimate.
My personal favorite part about that, living in Western Pennsylvania, there is often a propensity to put an S on the end of a word. So saving the monies. That was great. That's great. Very personable.
I envisioned that's what he would sound like. It was hard finding someone to do Einstein's voice, but we were lucky to find someone that could sound just like Einstein, and that was pretty cool. So we really wanted to get into the character of the essence of who he was, So it turned out really good. But I love the bushy mustache. He's talking over the whiteboard and his mustache is just, bouncing up and down. It's just stuff like that. It's the little things in life that I think make things so wonderful,
Yeah. Well, and the more thought that goes into your branding, I think the more elements you can bring in on something like an ad. So you've put in so much effort to build this brand along those guidelines of your brand. Now it doesn't just have to be a video of, oh yeah, we'll come fix your water heater. You can incorporate fun, you can incorporate care, you can incorporate an educational aspect or an intelligence. There's a lot that you can bring into it, and it comes off as natural and it's genuine. So I think there's a reason we're all watching it, laughing and enjoying it, and they work. What other channels do you guys use to promote Einstein Pros and your franchisees?
Well, so the biggest thing that we do with online marketing, of course, when a franchisee signs up, he picks they pick a territory. So they say, hey, you know what, I want to be in this territory, and this is where I'm going to operate my business out of. And so first thing that we do is we create the website with all the landing pages. We look and see what other people are doing in that market too, so we can see what our competitors are doing. And then we look at what is really needed in that market, because every market's a little bit different, right? See if you're in Texas and it's really hot, it's like, well, we're not going to be running ads for very many heaters, right? Furnaces or anything like that. So it's more on air conditioning. So it's really getting to know what your market really needs so that you can take care of the individuals living in that market. So not only do we have the website, we do the SEO, we do all the blogs. And we pick those blogs on basic things that people are looking for in that market. And then we go across all the business listings, all the platforms. We get everybody signed up, the franchisees signed up across all those platforms. We sign them up with PPC through Google. We get them doing social media, and then we create all the content that they need for their market based on what they're trying to do for their services. So the biggest thing for us is we really listen to the franchisee, because we want to make sure that they're going to have the most success in their market, right? Because that's what we're in business, to take care of our clients.
That's one thing I was curious about and I wanted to ask. Obviously, you guys are at the franchisor level, and you have franchisees, and so it sounds like you're very collaborative, and you're providing them with a lot of resources, even with their online presence. How do you guys collaborate? Like, how do you work together with them so that they can, generate as strong of an online presence as possible?
Yeah, so with the franchisees, we'll have meetings with them, sometimes weekly, monthly. It just depends on seasonality and what they're trying to accomplish. So if they say, hey, you know what, summer's coming up, we want to run ads and get some marketing presence for ACs or heat pumps or ductless mini splits. then we sit and we think, okay, what kind of ads could we run in your market? What's going to be effective? What's going to really reach the audience so that they are engaged and want to be a part of that? And so we listen to what each franchisee is doing in their market and what they're trying to do. And so that's part of the validation. That's part of the 5 things, that I talked about before, the value system that we have as a core group. And that's our core in business. And so working with the franchisees is really huge, listening to them to say, hey, you know what works in your market, because it could be different than their market, than someone else's market. And so really, really trying to help them out and find the clients that they're looking for so that they can build their business and be strong and do really well, so that they can have as many clients and reach as many people as possible.
Yeah, it seems like you guys really emphasize the importance of providing kind of continuous support. I would imagine even training to the franchisees to maintain the brand standard and really put them in a position to be successful. Is that say fair?
Oh yeah, totally. So, when we talk about the brand, and it's such a big name, Einstein Pros. So, it's like, how do we live up to the brand? And so going back to those 5 core values, we work with the franchisee to make sure that those five core values are being followed through. But it's also more in line too with brand standards, consistency, so we can ensure that high quality or products or services that we're offering. Each market is different, like we had talked about before. So if you're in Phoenix, it's going to be a hot market. And so it's going to be more based on ACs and, heat pumps and things like that. But, in other markets, it may not be. So it's really listening to what the franchisee wants and giving them the coaching, the mentoring, so that they're always getting that constant training to say, hey, if we follow these brand guidelines and we follow the things that we can do to get you into the market, then we could reach a better audience. And when we reach a better audience, then if we follow all the systems, then we could really take care of those people. And that's always going to get you more work, but it's also going to get you that market share is what you really want in your area. And so it's not so much like we're depending on PPC all the time to get us work, right? You're building a brand, and the brand is more important than the services that you do, because the brand is the thing that it's that emotional connection that makes people want to call you in the first place. Because there's so many different plumbers, there's so many different HVAC companies, there's so many different electrical contractors out there. It's like, what sets us apart is the why we're in business. It's the brand that has to be the forefront of the services that we provide. And without that, then we won't have success. So really encouraging the franchisees' success and satisfaction, taking care of their clients. It's huge. It's huge for us. It's huge for them as well.
Yeah, I could tell, obviously, on this call, it's been made clear, you guys worked really hard to build the brand. You figure out how to get the brand out there. You figure out the mediums to get the exposure you want. And you're passing all that, support resources to the franchisee. What do you guys do to train the franchisees to maintain those brand standards?
Well, so like when a franchisee signs up and they're like, okay, we want to be an Einstein Pros team member, it's a big deal for us. As a team, we take it very seriously. The first thing that we do is we actually get them on workies. So it's and get them in the training modules. We work with them every single day. So we'll have every morning we'll meet them with a team, and then we assign certain team members to walk them through all the policies and procedures. And we train them on everything that they're going to be doing, from how to answer the phones, how to use workies, how to be effective in the market. We go through the marketing with them and say, okay, here's your market. Here's the things that we would recommend for ads that we would do. And then how are we going to brand you with our brand, Einstein Pros, so people can really get to know who you are, right? Because that's another key thing that's so important, right? So we have the brand, but then we have the person that's doing the things every day, right? They're doing the services. And who is this person, right? and let's get to know them, and let's let the customers and the clients, potential clients in the market, really get a chance to get to know who that franchisee is in the market, because they're a real human being. They're trying to do the same thing that everybody else is, and that's deliver a service that really takes care of the clients. And so we want to focus on them. We want to focus on their story, getting them out there and getting people to really get to know them and the services that we provide through Einstein Pros.
Yeah, I think you touched on a great couple points there. So, in working together, Dan, I've understood, and you guys have really seen the value of how Workies can truly manage an entire business, and you guys are leveraging that. And you can use those tools to maintain that brand. If you're setting up things like automations to make sure that you're having the right communications with clients, that's showing that care. If you're getting back and increasing that speed to lead to get them on the schedule, that's helping your business. But again, it's showing that your community and your client base, that you're there to provide that help. And so, that's, you're using the right tools to kind of communicate your message within the brand. But you bring up the point, at the end of the day, you need the person that's managing that platform or whatever it is, or going out on those appointments, or managing that location. You need them to understand that and to connect with them at a personal level. What are you guys looking for in a franchisee? Like, I'm sure you have a well-defined selective process. What are you really looking for?
Yeah, we're looking for the same thing that we strive to do. So we're looking for those 5 core values, right? So it's positive validation, gratefulness, teamwork, a happy culture, and care. And so we're looking for someone who wants those things in their lives as well. So when you think about a franchisee who's wanting to come in, and a lot of people are, they're like, hey, how do I get into this brand, or how do I make a bunch of money? And it's not about that, right? It's about taking care of people. So at the end of the day, we're looking for people that are aligned with our values, with our core values. They do have to have an entrepreneurial drive. They have to have leadership skills. They have to be good at problem solving, and they have to be good at communication. But the biggest thing then is that these people have to share the same values as we do, because they're not going to succeed if they don't. If the drive is just to make money, then you should go somewhere else. The drive should be, how do we take care of people? How do we do a really good job? And at the end of the day, we'll make money, which is going to be great. We're going to take care of our families, and we're going to have a good life. But you know what? We're going to build a team of people that really care about the individuals in our market, that want to do a good job, that believe that being grateful and validating other people for their hard work and the people that work for them, and being a team and having a happy culture, taking care of people. Those are the things that we want. Those are the things that I strive for every day. And so I wake up with the intention, to do that every day, to compliment my team. Every morning, I meet with all my team members. We do a big group chat. We tell jokes. We tell stories. We laugh about things. And then we focus in on what we're going to do on the day to day. Hey, you're going to be working on this. What do you need help with? How can we support you? Okay. And you need this and you need that. And so that's how you build something, right? Is teamwork. And so we're looking for someone who wants to be a part of our team, that feels the same way, works the same way, thinks the same way, and wants that long-term vision so that they can succeed in their market as well. So
it makes perfect sense. You guys obviously put a lot of effort into building up the brand. You provide a lot of support and resources, to make them successful. But at the end of the day, to operate as a business, the customer interaction aspect of it, the direct conduit to that is the individual. And, so to make sure that you're hiring the right person, so that when that interaction occurs, it's relaying and it's improving that customer experience and building that loyalty, which I know obviously that is, just such a core part of what you guys do. I know we're wrapping up here, and I want to leave a couple minutes for questions. So kind of to end, how would you sum up how delivering this consistent brand message and experience to customers across all locations? How's that help strengthen then the overall brand loyalty?
Well, so going back to the core values, I think that's really what it is. If you have those core values, it's what's the driver? What's the driver for the mission that we're trying to do? We're trying to take care of people, and we're trying to deliver on how do we help customers or clients make the smart choice. So in order to do that, we have to have familiarity with everything that we're doing, meaning a uniform experience. So that's following the brand guidelines. We're building trust in the market. We're enhancing our recognition of what we do and how we do it. And then we're, cultivating that emotional connection with the customer, the client, so that we can get repeat business, And so if we can do that, that's what we want to do for brand loyalty. And then with the brand itself, like you said, what's the driver behind it? It's the why. And just like we had talked about, or I had talked about the apple, right? And so you've got the 5 seeds, or it's 5 to 8 seeds in each apple. And that's our value system. And then you have the core, right? So those are our core values that build that core team. And then you have the product. And so this is the finished product. And this is what a business should look like. And it shouldn't be the opposite, like we talked about before. It should be that we're working from the inside out. It's the why we do business. It's the how we do business. And then it's the what we're doing in business. Albert Einstein said, if you focus, he said, try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. And so if you focus on money, you lose your values. If you focus on value, then your success will be ongoing, because it's not dependent on money. It's dependent on your core values, which makes you who you are. And that's a company who takes care of people, including their own. And for me, that's the true definition of success. And that's Einstein Pros. That's who we are.
I love it. Those are some solid building blocks. This was great information today. Are you going to eat that apple?
Later.
Dan, I really appreciate the wisdom. I appreciate the insight, and I'd love to hear out there. Does anyone have any questions? For the last couple minutes here, while we have the man on the line, anything that you think can help you or shed some more insight, please use the chat. Let us know. Don't be shy, and we'd be happy to use the last few minutes for just some quick Q&A here.
Somebody's typing.
Yep. It's going to be a meaty one. Great question. What's the best source for an FDD?
If anybody doesn't know what an FDD is, it's required. It's for the Federal Trade Commission. You have to have an FDD that defines what your business is and the services that you provide. So the best source for an FDD really depends on what you're doing in your service. So you would want to go to like a franchise lawyer, and they would be able to help you with your FDD, because like I said, it's very specific for different trades and different services. So like we had, I think, hauling and junk removal, that would be a completely separate FDD than it would be for, say, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, which is, like the trades, something like that. So just depending on what your service industry is, actually. So,
yeah, I think I would definitely concur with that. I would say on our side, we talk with a lot of emerging brands, just because with how robust WorkEase is, it's very helpful to have a tool that can kind of manage the entire business from the beginning of the journey. And that step is, you talk to someone and like, oh yeah, I'm going to have my FDD done in like the next 30, 45 days. 6 months later, it's still going on. So getting the right resources to make sure that step of the process is done properly is exceptionally important, and allow you to kind of get get off the runway a little quicker and on the right foot. So great question, Victor. And we have resources we can put you in touch with as well. We're very familiar with that process if you guys are, curious. Any other questions from you guys? I don't see anybody typing. And we are, hey, we filled it pretty well here. Yeah, so we only have 3 minutes to spare. I just want to say we are going to send out the recording to anyone that has attended, in addition to anyone that was registered. If you guys want to learn more, just questions about Einstein Pros, or even about contacting Einstein and becoming a potential franchisee, please respond to that email. We will put you guys in touch. I believe Dan and I discussed, there might be some special promotional offers for anyone that has attended this webinar. That goes the same for us, for Workies. If you guys are considering a business management platform, you want to learn more, please reach out to us, and there will absolutely be, promotional offers available to you just for attending. All right?
And like Ben said, if anybody wants to reach me personally, I'll have my email. We can put my email address on there. They can email me. We can set time to talk about, franchising, or if there's anything that anyone had a particular question about that might be helpful. Always available to help someone else out in their journey in business. It's a long journey. I've been in business a long time, and it's taken a long time to figure out, the proper policies, procedures, and the way to go about doing things. So feel free to reach out to me, anybody out there. So love to share any more insights or advice that anybody would have, or if anybody's really interested in becoming a franchisee, again, just reach out to me and I'll tell you everything you need to know. So,
and thanks. Just one last question. Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And we got one more minute. Victor and Brian wanted to know, is this an executive model?
Yes. So, what on a franchise level, there's a lot of policies and procedures that has to be made, of course, and it has to be congruent, throughout all the different states. So each state has its own things that you have to qualify for. So when making an FTD or having a franchise business, you have to really think about all of the different states that you're going to be serving. And so everything has to be congruent or has to apply to every single state. That's why the FTD is literally that thick, because there's so many things that you have to address. So it's a lot that goes into the process, but it's a worthwhile endeavor. Franchising is a beautiful thing. It allows you to work with wonderful people. And for me, I feel grateful that I have wonderful people to work with that are part of Einstein Pros as a franchise business and get to use the Einstein name. And we really appreciate everybody who's part of our team, and anybody else who wants to be a part of it, please reach out. So thank you, Ben, for having us today. It was really great. And look forward to the next interview. Looks like we have more talking about Workies here on the 21st.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Recording will be sent out. You guys have a great rest of the week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.